Alright, welcome back to the Clash of Anatolia. We've got two members of Clan Hal facing off in this Turkish player exclusive tournament with Cyclops here in the blue trunks on the Huns, who do not need houses. Also have the nice cheap cavalry archers and trebuchet accuracy, access to those handy Tarkans who are sort of like a knight with extra building damage. Opponent today, and sorry about this little UI bug. It's showing me the stats of the last 4v4 I just casted. We've got up here in the top Ronotovi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, on the Vietnamese, a nice archer civ with the bonus health to archery range units and access to improved skirmisher and an improved skirmisher through the Imperial upgrade in the Imperial Age. And the Rattan archers, which are also a really nice archer unit. Rono already having to invest in a couple of houses here, which Cyclops. Actually, is that right? It's not Huns, is he? He's built houses anyway. I was going to say, what the hell has he done that for if he's Huns? He wouldn't have needed them. So he's built houses without actually needing them, which has actually set him back an awful lot of wood. Not actually able to get a mill just yet. I don't know why he's done that. I actually do not understand the logic behind building houses in a tournament game when you don't need to. But anyway, Cyclops just did it. It had me questioning whether or not I was seeing the right civ picks there. So yeah, Rono's had to go up to 3 houses already. And I believe, how much do houses actually cost? Is it 30 or 50? 25, okay. Even cheaper than I thought. Even still. It's only going to take 4 houses and then the the Hun player doesn't have to worry about this 100 wood deficit they've got, because you're never going to have to worry about being housed, and on top of that, yeah, beyond 4 houses, you're saving wood, saving build time. And if you factor in the build time, I suppose the house true cost is about, what, 30 to 35 resources, not 25? So Rono walling himself in. Cyclops going together. A bit more wood down here, so I'll have to commit to another lumber camp. And I mean, that'd pretty much be not a problem, but he's already wasted 50 wood going for those 2 houses. So we're here on dry graveyards, which, as the name implies, you've got all these graveyards with no actual water in the little ponds here. It's all dried up. It's a boneyard, man. We've got a fuckload of relics too. I think there's about 11 relics. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the player who'll be leading on relics and having control of more than half of them will have to grab 6. And it looks as though they're fairly evenly spaced between our players. Sometimes, you know, you end up with these ones right down here being pretty much a free grab for the player over this position, while the player up here has basically none in his back corner, and vice versa. In fact, I think it usually happens the other way round, like when the spawns are here and here. Generally it's the player on the right hand side that actually gets access to more relics, but it's just down to seeding, how the map actually generates, because it does vary from seed to seed of the same map. Got stables and barracks here of Ronotovi. Cyclops instantly scouting it, and he's also going stables and barracks. And I don't believe either player's really got any bonuses for archers here, but they're just looking to lean into early game cavalry. Trying to accrue a bit of value with some villager kills, or at the very least forcing them to pull back, forcing them to have to wall themselves in. Delay the gathering time. Additional spending on construction of defenses. All those little things, try and put yourself ahead a little bit. Both players are going to add a spearman into the mix here as well. Be very handy with getting a little bit of extra damage in. I don't really listen to the Vietnamese voice lines. Still getting to learn a handful of phrases that I actually don't know the meaning of in a million different languages. So Cyclops forcing Rano to have to play very defensively here. It won't be difficult for him to actually garrison most of these guys. But that worker pullback does hurt him slightly in terms of his gathering. On top of that, he's got to break a hole in his wall to come back here and deny these scout cavalry a little quicker. But he'll just use that space to build another house. Cyclops just trying to keep his opponent busy. Also, try and wear away at these scouts without taking any damage from the spearmen. So he does manage to finish off one of those scout cav. Rono eager to try and prevent any more serious damage and really kill off all these raiding units. Looks like Cyclops will be free to try and get towards Castle Age pretty quickly here. I think if he's able to just keep this pressure on without throwing any of these guys away. Not producing any more units at the moment. Hasn't had to wall himself in fully here. Got a couple of spears out in defense. Actually going to add the range. Well, Rono's going to have to add a range here too. Looks like Ronotovi is going to be able to clean up these scout cav. Cyclops just deciding to sacrifice what's left of that little army there and just bring everything home. Going for double range. But with his spears out in defense, his opponent's going to have to get a number of range units to actually push into him here. Rono's starting to produce archers, getting his wheelbarrow technology so he can get that improved villager movement speed and drop off carry capacity. So double range here for Cyclops. Is he producing out of both? Yes, he's got production out of both of those. Well, then they got single range production here for Rono, so I was wrong about Cyclops looking to try and just go for a quick castle behind that initial push. He's actually going to double down on feudal units here. This time, Rono taking the greater number fight there with the scout cav, so he's going to get a little bit more damage done out of that. I think most of this damage is from before the fight. But that wolf taking a lot of damage, a lot of health off that spearman. Make him pretty useless. Rono now trying to put everything together. Got another spearman out. Cyclops just massing up archers still at the moment, I believe. He does already have a pair of spearmen out, as opposed to... Well, there's now a pair here for Rono, but one of them is so low, it's going to take one shot and die. Rono's really pulled ahead of Cyclops in the score at the moment. He's going to commit to a second range now as well. That villager is pretty precariously placed. In fact, she's just going to get picked off there by Rono. So Cyclops, let's bring everything back. He wants to keep his farmers and his wood gatherers safe. He's going to try and get a little bit of damage under the cavalry. Fletching now, so he'll have that range and damage bonus, which Rono's already gone for. But it really just makes the archers good across the board against other units, because that extra range really helps them fight against cavalry and bully the hell out of infantry. The wolf. This time, Rono's not going to muck around and let it deal any damage to his army, just one-shots it with all the archers. And right now, Rono actually well up in terms of the kills. Cyclops taking castle age now. Rono's isn't too far behind. Cyclops gonna try to push out here. Got Bodkin arrow on the way, so he'll have that timing a bit quicker than Rono. His castle age is still finishing. Cyclops also going to get crossbowman here as well. He's actually going to get quite a bit of damage and range here on his archers. So jumping up another 2 range and 2 damage. Also got a little bit more health, but I think Rono's have more health just on the fact that he's playing as Vietnamese, so they just get 20% more health. So once he gets crossbow, it'll be quite hard for Cyclops to deal with, but Cyclops is already inside his walls, attempting to hit before Bodkin and crossbow finish up here. Should be able to pick a villager or 2 off. Also bully these archers quite a bit while we're waiting on both of these upgrades to kick in. Bodkin's still on the way. There we go. So now a 20% health advantage is going to be quite useful for our Vietnamese player. But it also looks like he's going to have to really guard his villagers, because Cyclops is just going to try and snipe as many of them as possible. Now he's pulled ahead by about 8 eco pop, got a second town centre out of his own. And he has already gone for a university, probably to get ballistics. He's also making a bit of a transition to cavalry archers here. Actually slightly out damage, a little more health than the Vietnamese crossbows. Looks like Rono's going to have to try and make a break for it, get on top of another gold mine, because Rono's done a wonderful job at thinning out any of the defenders and really zoning off his opponent. So we've got a bit of an eco trade here, but Cyclops looks to be in a slightly better spot to defend it. He has lost villager and a couple of units he had on defense there, but Rono's only got now 4 crossbows left in his opponent's base here, while Cyclops still has 9, forcing out skirmisher production here. Rono's probably going to want to get upgrades for those as well. He's still just pumping out skirmishers for the moment because he's struggling for the gold. He's on at the moment, but he's tapping out there, and Cyclops has taken the game.